I mean, the way we were doing it was there'd be, used tires in the garbage can. So we were always the guys to run the stuff out of the garbage can, whether it's used tires, bent bars we'd take home and straighten, just because the amount of stuff I was going through. Like I said, we were literally taking clutch plates out, and I'd seen my dad scraping them on the cement when we're at tracks and stuff. Jet stepped it out. He's the freaking gnarliest dude right now, and he looks so methodical when he rides. Like, he doesn't look like he's just pinned and getting sketchy and sending it.
Yeah, but with all that being said, you're probably going to smoke him on a two-stroke at Washougal.
If I can keep from getting lapped by Jet when I'm on the two-stroke at Washougal, that'll be like a win for me. I loved every second of it, and I was taking it dead serious, at the from the very start, and I was probably taking it too serious, just really grinding it out. And if I had an injury, I was just gonna keep on going with that thing, because I knew that's what the top guys were doing, and it gets gnarly, but won some motos in the 125 class at Loretta's and that kind of stuff, and got a Team Green ride after that on 250Fs. Pretty much overtrained myself into, just being burnt out at that point. And I had to tone it back a little bit from there and get healthy again and turn pro. And we're here.
So what did the overtraining thing, did you get actually sick from it, or?
Yeah, I basically had this mindset where, if you ride the most and you train the hardest, those are the guys that win. And I took that to an extent where, I was riding 24/7, and I was so skinny and so brittle from it and just working out. And I was going backwards, and I didn't know it, because I was just like, work harder. It'll be, that's the path. And man, by the time I was 17, I was just super skinny to the point where I would even tip over, and shoulder would blow out or whatever, just because I was tired. And I found out pretty quickly along the way that recovery is a pretty big part of it, but it unfortunately took me a little while to figure that out. And maybe even a little bit too late, because I was just going for it. And by the time I turned pro, I still was just grinding too hard, and everybody was trying to tell me, to hold back more than anything. And I just thought, they were trying to discourage me in a way. So it definitely took some convincing, but after a little while of sitting on the couch, you realize, like, hey, this isn't fun. That's not why I'm doing this. Let's get healthy and do this thing and figure it out.
So what was, when you were training at your gnarliest point, what was 1 week in your life like? Like, let's say the gnarliest week you'd ever trained on a dirt bike and off a dirt bike. Like, break that week down.
Oh man, I would get up at 5:45, run, stationary cycle, do some gym exercises, any of that stuff, get on my mountain bike, rip around a bit, make sure that the bikes were ready to go, and I would just freaking ride from sun up to sun down. My dad would come home, he would try and fix the bikes, because I was going for it. Like, if there wasn't crap flying off the bike the whole time I was riding, I didn't think I was trying hard enough. Like, you could show up at my local track and you would know that, like, I'm going to ride that thing till the wheels would fall off. And good or bad, I was passionate, and I still am. I'm going to ride that thing as hard as I possibly can and get around that track, whether it's ugly or not. And so I definitely had to tone it back a bit. I just wanted it bad, man. Like, I had so many people would laugh when I'd show up at the local track. They're like, there's not going to be one berm that's not blown out, and that bike ain't running by the end of this day. Any bike that I brought, you could bring multiple, and I'm gonna ride that thing to its very limit. my dad's probably gonna be out there with the clutch plates out, scraping it on the pavement, trying to get some traction out of them. But you know, it was entertaining for everybody, and it still is, I guess.
So you'd go out there and like, were you doing motos? You'd be like, oh, I'm doing 20s, and you'd go do a 20, fuel up, do another 20, or like what was it structured?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going for 30 plus twos every time I got on the bike, and I wasn't taking much break. And you know, that's hard on the body, man, and it's hard on the bike, and it's hard on everybody around you. So just trying to keep the stuff running. And like I said, everybody was telling me like, man, like, slow down, like, what are you doing? You're gonna be burnt out by the time you turn pro. And I was like, oh, more you ride, harder you work, this is it. And you know, a bunch of sponsors, like, you know, they would help me out, and they're like, yeah, you know, like, we'll get you a gym trainer and all that. And so, you know, then I'm going to the gym with a trainer, but it's not a motocross trainer, so they're really burning you in the gym. And then I'd go home, and then I'm gonna ride all day too, and I just was making a recipe for disaster. But you know, all my funnest times, because I mean, I was riding from sun up to sundown, you know, 100% effort, and it's gotten me in this position now, so no regrets.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, like, you don't know what you don't know. I mean, I was the opposite when I was racing, you know, like I couldn't, I didn't have the opportunity to like ride that much, and then I'd get to the track and I'd be like, oh, the track sucks, and this my bike's like, just because I didn't know. I'm like, no, this is just what everyone's bike feels like. This is just the track that everyone's got to ride. So it's like, if I was a kid, I look back, I'd be like, oh man, I bet I could have done so much stuff differently. But when you're a kid, and you know, you just don't know any better.
Oh, for sure. And you know, it was funny because usually if it's raining or muddy or snowy or whatever it is in the Northwest, most people are like, you know, we're not riding.
Yeah.
And my dad was always sitting there. He's like, dude, just don't ride today, man. Like, it's gonna be bad. And I'm doing it either way. Like, I had that mindset, and you know, he was you know, supportive 100%. Like, he would make it happen. And I mean, it's gnarly, like the amount of brake pads and everything. And that's why I really appreciate everybody in the Northwest. Like, they all come together and help me do this thing, because the weather, it's not always nice there. And it was funny because, you know, growing up, you see everybody at the track and their parents are pushing them for, like, you know, pit boards and lap times, and, you know, trying to drag their kid out there and, like, you know, jump that jump. I was the opposite way. They were always trying to tone me back. I'm like, I want to do this moto. I don't care if it's frozen solid as a rock. Like, I'm doing this thing, and I'm gonna hit that jump either way. And everybody's like, slow down, man. Like, you know, it doesn't have to be this way. But like I said, I'm just having a blast doing it. And you know, luckily Team Green was cool at the time with you know, the amount of stuff I was breaking. But man, it was hard on my dad, man.
So you'd be going through like bulk clutch plates, bulk oil, bulk brake pads, grips, bars, levers, like tires.
Yeah, I mean, the way we were doing it was we'd go to a track, there'd be, you know, used tires in the garbage can. So we were always the guys to run the stuff out of the garbage can, whether it's used tires, bent bars we'd take home and straighten, just because the amount of stuff I was going through. Like I said, we were literally taking clutch plates out, and I'd seen my dad scraping them on the cement when we're at tracks and stuff. He's like, you know, it's the amount of resources that takes to ride that much is just insane. And then you know, we'd buy super cheap eBay brake pads and rotors. And I had like at the time I had some KX250 two-strokes back when they were worth nothing, that like people were just dropping off at the house. They're just like, you know, whatever it takes for you to keep this thing going, because everybody in the Northwest, they wanted to see this thing succeed with the amount of effort that we were putting into this thing, you know. So it like I said, it wasn't just an effort of me and my family, but the whole Northwest was behind this thing to to make sure that we would get to the point where we could go professional with this thing, and I definitely took it to the limits.
We are excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.